For weeks now, 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsport's status for the 2025 season was unknown. There was a lot of doubt whether they would even be on the grid next year due to the ongoing lawsuit the teams filed against NASCAR. But now the judge has made a decision that is terrible news for 2311 Racing and FRM. A few months back, both the teams refused to sign the 2025 charter agreement and filed an antitrust lawsuit against NASCAR for the way they handled the contract negotiations. NASCAR has been accused of manipulating the teams and coercing them to sign the 2025 agreement. The agreement is allegedly not fair for the teams, and NASCAR maintains a great share of the profit while the teams are given a comparatively minimal amount. Given that 2311 Racing and FRM have not signed the charter agreement for 2025, they had filed for an injunction, which would allow them to continue racing on the 2025 grid as chartered teams. But this injunction has now been denied by the judge. This is terrible news for the plaintiffs, and now they will have to run as open teams in the 2025 season. Weirdly, the plaintiffs' lawyers seem to be satisfied with the overall result that came out of the courtroom, as NASCAR did waive one of the clauses in its open agreement. The team's attorney, Jeffrey Kessler, released the following statement as they reacted to this news. "We are pleased to announce that NASCAR has removed the anti-competitive release requirement in its open agreement, which will now allow 2311 and Front Row Motorsports to race as open teams in 2025. My clients will continue their appeal to the Fourth Circuit to issue an injunction so that they can run as chartered teams, therefore avoiding irreparable harm. Both race teams are pleased that they will continue to be a participant in this sport that they love, while fighting to make it fair and just for all." While this is terrible news for the teams, Jeffrey Kessler is happy because the lawsuit can continue on since NASCAR removed the anti-competitive release requirement. This clause basically disallows teams to file a lawsuit against NASCAR. The removal of the anti-competitive release clause from NASCAR's open team agreement ensures that 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports can continue their antitrust lawsuit without hindrance, even as they compete in the 2025 NASCAR season as open teams. This clause previously barred open teams from initiating legal action against NASCAR, effectively tying their participation to a waiver of legal claims. By eliminating this restriction, NASCAR has allowed the teams to pursue their legal battle while remaining active participants on the track. From a legal standpoint, the removal of the clause strengthens the validity of 2311 and FRM's lawsuit. It ensures there is no claim of coercion or restriction of their right to challenge NASCAR's revenue and charter systems. The lawsuit itself remains unaffected, as the arguments center on alleged antitrust violations and the distribution of NASCAR's financial and competitive structures. This decision creates a scenario where the legal and competitive battles can run concurrently. The teams can now focus on their claims in court while striving to remain competitive on the racetrack, though without the financial and logistical benefits of charters. This dual fight highlights the depth of the team's commitment to challenging NASCAR's current system, even at the expense of on-track disadvantages in the interim. Running as open teams in the 2025 NASCAR season represents a significant loss for 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports. Operating without charters deprives the teams of several critical advantages. Charters ensure participation in all Cup Series races, which is essential for team planning and sponsorship reliability. As open teams, 2311 and FRM must qualify for every race, introducing unpredictability and increasing the likelihood of missing key events. Charters come with a share of NASCAR's revenue distribution, offering financial security to cover operational costs. Open teams receive a much smaller portion, forcing 2311 and FRM to rely heavily on external sponsorship to stay afloat. Sponsors prefer working with chartered teams due to the guaranteed exposure provided by full season participation. As open teams, the uncertainty of race qualification makes it harder to secure and retain high-value sponsorship deals. This could impact long-term partnerships and diminish the team's ability to compete financially. Tyler Reddick's future with 2311 Racing is under significant scrutiny following the announcement that the team will run as an open team in the 2025 NASCAR Cup Series season. This status eliminates their eligibility to compete for the championship under current NASCAR rules, which require teams to have a charter to qualify for the playoffs. This development fundamentally impacts the team's competitiveness and Reddick's aspirations for another title-contending season. Reddick, who advanced to the Championship 4 in 2024, has cemented himself as a driver capable of competing for the Cup Series title. However, as part of an open team, 2311 Racing will face significant disadvantages, including the inability to participate in the playoffs. This removes any opportunity for Reddick to chase the championship, making the team a less attractive option for a driver of his caliber. There are indications that Reddick's contract with 2311 Racing includes a clause allowing him to leave if the team does not maintain its charter status. This clause is crucial, as it provides Reddick with a pathway to pursue other opportunities with chartered teams that can offer him a chance to compete for titles. One of the most viable options for Reddick is Joe Gibbs Racing, or JGR. Given Denny Hamlin's uncertain future with the team following FedEx's departure as a primary sponsor, a seat may open at JGR. Reddick's existing relationship with Toyota, combined with 2311 Racing's technical partnership with JGR, makes him a natural candidate for the seat. Moving to JGR would secure Reddick a chartered team and the resources necessary to maintain his championship ambitions. If Reddick leaves, 2311 Racing will face an even steeper uphill battle. Losing their most competitive driver could lead to difficulties in attracting sponsors and sustaining high performance. Running as an open team already puts the organization at a disadvantage, and Reddick's departure could further weaken their position. Tyler Reddick's decision to stay or leave 2311 Racing will depend heavily on the team's ability to address the challenges of running without a charter. Without the ability to compete for a championship, the team may no longer align with Reddick's goals, increasing the likelihood of his departure. If he chooses to leave, Reddick could find a new home with a team like JGR, where his talent can continue to flourish in a competitive environment. Operating as open teams might signal instability to the NASCAR community and fans. This perception can affect morale within the teams, weaken driver confidence, and impact overall performance. Running as open teams places 2311 Racing and FRM at a competitive and financial disadvantage. Their resources will be stretched thinner, their ability to attract talent and sponsors compromised, and their overall standing in the NASCAR ecosystem weakened. While it allows them to remain on the grid and continue their lawsuit, the long-term consequences of losing charter status could be profound. As 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports prepare to compete as open teams in the 2025 NASCAR season, concerns have been raised about their financial sustainability amid the ongoing antitrust lawsuit against NASCAR. Running as open teams means reduced revenue from the sport's centralized distribution system and the potential loss of key sponsors. This financial strain, compounded by legal costs, has created doubt about whether both teams can remain viable under these circumstances. However, 2311 Racing is in a unique position of relative security due to the involvement of NBA legend Michael Jordan, a co-owner of the team. With a net worth of $3.5 billion, Jordan provides a financial safety net that could allow the team to weather the challenges of running as an open team while pursuing the lawsuit. Jordan's resources not only offer stability, but also the ability to invest in top-tier equipment, personnel, and operational costs, ensuring that 2311 remains competitive on the track despite the lack of a charter. FRM, on the other hand, does not have the same level of financial backing and could face a tougher road. Without a prominent figure like Jordan to offset the revenue shortfall, FRM may need to rely heavily on sponsorship deals, which are harder to secure without guaranteed race entries provided by a charter. Their participation as an open team places them in a precarious position, making their financial future heavily dependent on race performance and qualifying consistency. Ultimately, while 2311 Racing's association with Michael Jordan provides them a lifeline to endure these challenges, the situation underscores the inherent disadvantages of operating without a charter and the financial toll of prolonged litigation. The decision for 2311 Racing and Front Row Motorsports to compete as open teams in the 2025 NASCAR season has far-reaching implications for their financial stability, competitive viability, and future within the sport. While 2311 Racing benefits from Michael Jordan's financial support, ensuring a level of security amidst the challenges, FRM faces significant uncertainties without similar backing. The lack of charter revenue and guaranteed race participation jeopardizes their ability to attract and retain sponsors, essential for long-term survival. Both teams remain committed to pursuing their antitrust lawsuit, aiming to address systemic inequalities in NASCAR's revenue model. However, this dual focus on legal battles and on-track performance will test their resilience. The next season may be pivotal in reshaping not only their futures, but also the dynamics of team sustainability within NASCAR, as they fight to prove their worth against the odds in a sport defined by competitiveness and financial strategy. Do you think 2311 and FRM can win this legal battle against NASCAR? Post your thoughts in the comment section below.